This is a boss. It's the central part on the front of a shield, the scutum that a Roman legionary would have had, and it had a couple functions. Primarily it was there to protect the hand because the handle sat flush with the shield. But this one's really interesting. It's got some wonderful detail on there, and there's also a bit of a story. So let's get to it. This has been dated to the early 2nd century AD and was found in the River Tyne, which is in the northeast of England. And it's, as you can see, it's got some great detail, which we'll get to in a moment, but possibly the most interesting detail in it you can't actually make up, because it's an inscription, and it's an inscription of who it was owned by. And it was owned by a gentleman or soldier called Junius Dubitatus. But he also mentions that he was in the century that was Julius Magnus's. So Julius Magnus was presumably the centurion. And then he mentioned that that was within the Augustan 8th Legion, the Legio 8th, which is weird because the Legio 8th wasn't actually stationed in the UK at all. It was stationed in what is modern day Strasbourg, and it's thought that this was a detachment that had been brought over to the northeast of England to help out in some capacity. Purely on the fact that that inscription tells a story, it's a pretty interesting thing. I always love that kind of stuff, by the way, because it allows us to see a bit more behind the scenes. It's a good example of just how flexible the Roman army could be, and without this kind of an object, we wouldn't have that story. And also like something which associates with an individual. I mean, this was something that actually belonged to someone. I always like that kind of thing. Anyway, to the detail. So I've zoomed in a bit here, and hopefully you can see the detail a bit more clearly. Now, what you have in the four corners is apparently representation of the seasons. And at the top there, in that top central panel, you've got Mars, which, well, that makes sense. In the bottom centre there, you have a bull, and the bull was an emblem or representation, as it were, of the 8th Legion. Often legions would have a sort of a banner or, should we say, an image associated with them. And it seems that the 8th had the bull. So we can absolutely say that this individual with this scutum and this boss was from the 8th Legion Augusta. Now, I should mention that I've done some videos on the scutum and in particular about the boss. But if you've got any questions about it, stick them in the comments because I'm always happy to answer. And if you like this kind of stuff, well, click follow and yeah, you know what to do.